started video for me this week, and this one's going to be, obviously, League 2 is underway now, and we're only a few games in. We're 5 games in for a lot of teams, you know. Obviously, a couple of teams have got a game or so in hand, so we've had 4 or 5 games, and I'm just going to take you through how the league is standing early. I've done it early because I thought, well, the transfer window is now out of the way. This isn't, this is where I think now they're going to finish, but just how teams have started in League 2 this season. So I'm just going to get the league table up. You won't see it right now. I'm going to get, I'll get that sorted out towards the end of the season. But I'll talk you through, obviously, where everyone is in the league, and including Mike's and I, which is over there, and where everyone stands. As I said, most teams have played 5 games this term. There's obviously a few teams that have only played 4. But in the early going, Doncaster Rovers are leading the way on 12 points. That's 4 wins from their first 5 games, only 1 defeat. No surprise really with the squad that Doncaster Rovers have put together. They're just all where I thought they'd be. Whether they'll stay there, you never know throughout the season. But to be completely honest, 10 goals scored so far this season for them, 6 goals conceded, and only 1 defeat in that process. It just sort of shows you that Doncaster, top of the table, deserve to be after the first 5 games. Underneath them, the top 3 are Notts County and Barrow. Barrow probably starting better than probably some people would have given them credit for, with 3 wins from the first 5 games, 1 draw and 1 defeat in that time. They have scored 7 goals this term. They've conceded only twice, so they've had quite a tight defence. That gives them 10 points from their first 5 games. And Notts County are in League 2 the only unbeaten side in the league, with 3 wins from their opening 5 games and 2 draws. They've scored 10 goals, conceded 4. And they're on 11 points so far. And I can say through watching Notts County firsthand, obviously having the likes of Dan Crowley and Jody Jones in their team, it really is no surprise that they're up where they are. If we go quickly into the playoffs at the moment are occupied by Gillingham, Bradford, Walsall and Wimbledon. And I will just mention Newport, who are just outside on 10 and 9 points respectively. Newport, I think, are really surprising people. 3 wins from their opening 5 games, and 2 defeats. So they haven't had a draw yet, but scored 10 goals. They've conceded 9. But Newport, I think, are surprising a few people, especially me, especially the way they've started the season. And you can't fault them. They know exactly where they seem to know their style of playing. They seem to know how to get the best out of it. But 3 wins from the opening 5. Can't really grumble. I will just mention quickly Wimbledon, as they obviously have a game in hand. They've only played 4 games. But they have won 3 of their 4, while losing the other 1. Wimbledon, I think they're going to be in and around it this year. It doesn't surprise me they've made a good start. Johnny Jackson at Wimbledon has got something going down there. Again, players believing in what the manager's trying to do, and the execution is fairly good. I am going to give Walsall a little bit of a shout out here. I mean, Walsall have started the season really well. I mean, 3 wins from their opening 5 games. Um, you have to give them credit. 7 goals scored, 3 conceded. And it's a real solid start for the Saddlers. I think they've started better than I thought they would, to be completely honest. And I think, Matt Sadler, again, he has something going there. You never read too much into it that early, but when everyone talks about having a good start, you want a good start. And obviously these teams in the playoffs and so on and so forth, and just outside, have had decent starts. So, Matt Sadler is... he'll be disappointed with the couple of defeats they have had. One at MK Dons and one against Tranmere. But on the whole, again, I think one of Walsall's strengths will be the Bescott. That will be one of the strengths of Walsall's season, I think. Same with Bradford. I mean, Bradford, same record, three wins from 5. They've drew 1 and they've lost 1, which was to my club. Sorry to mention Bradford, to Grimsby Town 2 weeks ago. But 8 goals scored, 5 conceded on 10 points. You expect this for Bradford. I mean, people are saying, because they sell the most of a big club. Now, Bradford are bigger than League 2. But, I do seriously think they will be at least playoffs this season. I really do. I just, Graham Alexander, he splits fan bases, but at this level, he's a good gaffer. But this way, if Gary Neville once said that he regretted sacking Graham Alexander at Salford, I think that's kind of telling you what sort of high regard. And people said, "What do you mean, Gary Neville at Salford?" But he is a very respected manager at this level. So I expect Bradford to be in around it. Gillingham as well, making a solid start there. They line 4th, just outside on goal difference. 3 wins from the opening 5, lost 1 and drew 1. They've scored 6 and conceded 2. They're not the biggest scorers, Gillingham. And they weren't last year either. Could that become their Achilles heel? Again this year, maybe? Early signs would say no. But then again, you never know. If we look just a little bit further down the league now, and we'll go more into the mid-table sort of area. Obviously, I've just mentioned Chesterfield in the top 10. A really good side, to be honest. But 2 wins from the opening 5 games, 2 draws and a defeat. 9 goals scored, 4 conceded on 8 points. Obviously beating Grimsby last time out. They've had a solid return to League 2. I'm sure Paul Cook would like a little bit more, but wouldn't we all? But you can say a very, very solid start for Chesterfield in their return to league football. A team that I will mention are in 11th place, Bromley. Now, I know a lot of fans at the beginning of the season were saying I was being harsh on Bromley, and I'm sure they thought they were starting to prove me wrong when they won big on the opening day. And fair play to Bromley. They've got 7 points from the opening 5 games. That equates to 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 defeats. Credit to Bromley. But the last couple of games haven't necessarily gone to plan for them. 2 losses and a draw, but again, a solid start for Bromley. Where I think if you'd have said in the first 5 games they'd be in the top half of the division, I think Bromley fans would have literally, they'd have beat your arm off for that. They'd have chewed your arm off for that. So a very, very solid start. The reason why I'm going to the middle as well is I just wanted to bring up on Port Vale. Out of the 5 games that Port Vale have played this season, they've only won twice. And they've lost twice. They've scored 8, but they've conceded 8. They're on 7 points. Now, you see the difference between Bromley and Port Vale. Port Vale is probably slightly underachieving. Only 2 wins from opening 5 games. I think Port Vale have probably had a reality check. I think because you would expect Port Vale to be around about Gillingham Bradford's kind of position, and to just be in the top half now, bang on mid-table. You're thinking it's an underwhelming start for the Valiants, and I think they will improve, but only having a record of 2-1-2. It's I would say for Dan Moore and his men, that's kind of like a reality check, and it'll be interesting to see how they develop. Another team that I am going to mention, which I believe at the minute are underachieving, are actually MK Dons. Obviously under Mike Williamson, they haven't had the best of starts at all. To be honest, only 2 wins from their opening 5. Again, it doesn't sound like a bad record, but when you look that they were one of the favourites to get promoted this season, the start, like I said, it's only 5 games, so I get that before anyone comes at me and says, yeah, we're only 5 games in. Of course we are. But you would look at teams like Port Vale and you look at teams like MK Dons and go, you'd have thought they'd have been the early pace setters. That hasn't been the case in League 2 this season. I think that shows you sort of how competitive League 2 is this year, that those 2 teams who have had, to be fair, they've got 2 of the biggest budgets in the league. It shows you that it's not all plain sailing. And Crew, I just want to quickly give them a shout as well. They're in 13th between Port Vale and MK Dons. They made a very, very slow start, really. First couple of defeats, and a couple of heavy defeats as well. Only 3 goals scored for Crew, but with that, they've actually had 2 wins. But they have conceded 7 goals this season. They are on a minus goal difference, but 7 points after the start that Crew made. I think Crew have kind of stabilised. They'll be hoping that hopefully the little bit of hangover which they seem to have from last year's playoffs hopefully has now subsided. If we go to where my club Gunsby Town are right now, they're in 16th place with 2 wins from their opening 5 games. They've scored 7 goals and conceded 10. And all I can say for that is unbeaten at home and lost every game away from home, really. I'd say basically the Mariners' problem is keeping clean sheets. That is an average of 2 goals a game that Town have conceded in the first 5 games, and that needs to improve for us to get better. David Artell needs to work on consistency, and I've said that for ages. And we'll see what the Mariners do in the next 10 games. I'll probably do a review again after about 15 games as well. So you will get regular reviews from me throughout this season. Just above the Mariners at Cheltenham, under Michael Flynn, I would say Cheltenham's big problem is probably similar to the Mariners' problem, conceding. They've got goals in them, and Michael Flynn teams always do. They've won 2 games of their. In fact, they've got the exact same record, apart from a 2 goal difference better than Grimsby Town. Um, it, I wouldn't say underwhelming. Might be a good term for Cheltenham. Um, but would you class that as a side start for Cheltenham? I can see a little bit of improvement in Cheltenham. I don't see them. From what I watched of them, they're definitely a good footballing side. It's just where they can keep the ball out the net. That could be the biggest issue for Cheltenham. Same with Grimsby, really. You need to show up. You've definitely got goals in them, but they need to show up. Fleetwood have only played 4 games so far. 1 win, 2 draws and 1 defeat. And they've only scored 3 goals in the 4 games and conceded 3. They've got 5 points. Obviously, I saw them first hand on the opening day. As I said, the Cods beat the Haddocks on the opening day. And they really came close to surprising Notts County at Meadow Lane, to be honest with you, the game after. I don't think they're a team that you can take lightly, Fleetwood. But they're a side that are going to be hard to beat. That, I think, is what they're based on. That they haven't got maybe the quality of certain teams in this league, but they're tenacious. Fleetwood are tenacious. So I think, it'll be interesting to see how Fleetwood get on throughout the rest of the season. If we go now towards, obviously, the bottom end, I'll just quickly mention Salford. Again, I think Salford, they've played 4 games, so they're one of the teams with a game in hand. For the aspirations that the class of 92 have got, now when I say I like the fact they're struggling, I like the fact they're struggling for the owner's perspective, because they did quickly rise through the non-league ranks. Now they've got into league where every single team is full-time. They haven't found it as simple as, I don't know whether the class of 92 thought it was going to be, or maybe they thought they'd do a Wrexham, or they thought they'd do a Stockport. The last couple of years they have kind of stagnated a little bit, or at the minute they're plateaued. And I think 19th after 4 games, they're not going to be happy with that. They did have a good win against the MK Dons, which they'll be happy with. But only 5 points from the opening 4. Salford won't be exactly best pleased with that. Another team that are perennial strugglers right now are Colchester. They've made, again, a fairly poor start, but a start that I think Colchester fans are getting used to seeing. 1 win from the opening 5, 2 draws and 2 defeats. The Cowley brothers are great coaches, and Danny Cowley's a great manager, but Colchester, they just always seem to be perennial strugglers, get your teeth in. And that's what they look like right now. They look like it could be another season of struggle. And they'll want to get away from that as soon as possible. If we go quickly to the bottom, right to the bottom, not too far from Salford, but if we go to likes of Colchester and Accrington and Morecambe, I wouldn't want to be Morecambe right now. They've played 5 games this season. They have not won a single one. They have not got a single point. 5-0. They've conceded 5 and scored none in their opening 5 games. You could not ask for a worse start. And it's to be expected, you know, when Morecambe started the season, and a few days before, bought in 15 players after, I believe it was a transfer embargo got lifted. They bought 15 players in. And it's whatever they could get. Obviously, their manager came back, Derek Adams. I always say a lot of these managers, they're not miracle workers. You know, Derek Adams is a good manager for this level. And going back to Morecambe and probably thinking, yeah, we can probably surprise a few people. I've seen a lot of people say that Morecambe will be near the bottom. At the minute, they are bottom. And it could be a long season for Morecambe fans. Very easy. I mean, they haven't played non-league for nearly a decade now, I think. But this year looks, at least by the way it started, like that is a distinct possibility of non-league could be heading to Morecambe. Again, early days. Accrington, same, but they have got good points on the board. They haven't had a good start. They've only scored 6 goals, but they've conceded 13. They're the worst defence in the division, and the team just above them in Carlisle are second, and my club Grimsby are third. Worst defence. But you look at the bottom 3, you would be worried for all 3 of them, really. You know, 4 defeats out of 5 for Carlisle, 3 defeats and 2 draws for Accrington, and 5 straight defeats for Morecambe. And obviously Carlisle have sacked the manager as well. Things are looking tough for those 3. Well, 4 teams. We've had Swindon. I mean, Swindon shouldn't be down there, but they haven't won in the opening 5 games either. It just showing you that Harrogate are doing, I would say, maybe a little less than they expected, but Harrogate are one of the smallest sides in the division. So, you know, with Sam Weaver, they're always capable. They've only won 1 out of their opening 5 games. So, my thoughts quickly on the league is it's competitive. Some teams are underachieving. Some teams are doing what you thought you'd do, a la Doncaster and Notts County. You know, you expect them to do well. Milton Keynes and Port Vale are probably underachieving a little bit. Walsall fans are like this. I think they're overachieving at the moment, but deservedly so. You don't win 3 games but I think they are, after the last overachieving slightly. Although in my prediction I didn't say they'd finish 8th. So, but if you've had a good start, it's all good. The middle, like I said, you've got teams that are underachieving, such as Port Vale and MK Dons. I think they are underachieving a little bit from what people maybe expected, but it's still early days, and I think it could be a long season for Morecambe, and Doncaster are starting as they mean to go on. And even though it's only 5 games in, it's looking, well, 5 for a majority of teams. The league's looking intriguing. No one's running away with anything. Everything's close. And I think this could be a very, very intriguing league to keep following. So I will do another one probably after about 15, 20 games. I'll do another one of these reviews of how I think the league is shaping up and teams doing well and teams not probably doing as well as expected. Like I said, you can catch me covering most of the Grimsby Town stuff. And I'll be doing a review of their games and previews. Also, though, for League 2 content, if I don't get around to doing a league preview, I will make sure that there will be a league review for all League 2 games. So if you are a League 2 subscriber of mine, or you just come across me for the very first time, I'm Dean. Hello there. And I will keep everyone up to date with League 2 on this channel. Obviously, my club, Grimsby Town. All my subscribers from that. So if you do want to know my opinion of League 2 and how I think things are shaping up, and have a debate with me. If you think that I'm wrong by your club, and you think that your club, I've been a bit harsh on them, you can always, or I'm not on the money with you. You know, do let me know in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel, because that does help me. That also, I just wanted to try this and give the review of the league after certain points, and I want you guys' reviews on and thoughts on how you think, if your club is in League 2, how you think you're doing. The Bromley fans, how do you think you've started? Like I said, I think you've been quite solid. But the last couple of results have kind of shown, you know, that it isn't as straightforward, but they've definitely started better than I thought they would. Let me be completely honest with you there. So, yeah, that is my review. It's very, very early in the season, so things will change over the season, I'm sure. But it's going to be very, very competitive. So they're my thoughts. Leave your thoughts down below for me on how you think League 2 is shaping up. And any team that you follow in League 2 or support in League 2, let me know what you think of the season. So far, it's only early. How have your team actually been playing? Obviously, I can only go by results in general, but how's your team been playing? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this and whether you like this kind of concept. I am going to work on the videos even more, so don't worry, it won't just be me always waffling, but while it still is, enjoy it. But if you did like this video, do like, do share, do subscribe, do comment for me. I want the League 2 family to give me your opinion on how the season's going. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And I will see you all for a League 2 review, it'll be. And obviously, Mariners fans as well, I'm going to include you. I will be back with a Barrow preview that comes up at the end of the week after the pre-matches have all been done with David Artell. So in the meantime, guys, pleasure to see you again. Pleasure to speak to you and hear me waffle. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next one. Ta-da for now. Up the Mariners, and we'll say up League 2 as well. See you soon. Bye-bye.